Okay, everybody, what I'm doing now is I'm making a foot cream, and I was recording it earlier and I made a bit of an error, and it wasn't anything that I couldn't recover from, but what I had to do was I had to recalculate, had to move things around, I had to add other ingredients that typically don't go in this to balance out some of the things that I did. Otherwise I would have had a big waste and a big mess on my hands. So that's why you're not seeing the beginning of the video. And I'll be telling you some of the things that I'm putting in here, but this is not the base recipe that I wanted for it. So I will give you some of the ingredients and let you know what role they play and that they're optional, because most of these are optional. But I had to do a lot of sort of ducking and weaving around my mistakes, so that's where that is. And I'm waiting for my aloe vera to heat and hold, my butters and oils and emulsifiers to melt, and I will bring you back. Okay, one thing that's really helpful is when you're first learning to make lotions and creams and everything like that, you start to look at the amounts of product that you need, the percentages. Most recipes that work really well are done in percentages. So even if you're formulating your own recipe, you should figure out the percentages so that if something goes wrong, which is what I had to do here, I had to break it down into percentages, which I probably had at one point, but when something went wrong, I couldn't pull the percentages off the top of my head. So I had a choice of either throwing everything completely away or making some adjustments and bringing my percentages back and trying not to let things get too, it's like you could just easily double your recipe for certain mistakes, but for others it's not quite that easy. This one was not quite that easy. There's a lot of ingredients in this. This is kind of, it's sort of a basic / advanced lotion or cream. I really want it to be a cream because you can leave different things out so it could stay basic, but if you want to add things, a lot of different ingredients, you're going to have to know exactly what role they play and why you're using them. So that was my challenge when things went wrong. So I'm not going to give you exact quantities, but I am going to tell you what is necessary and what is unnecessary. So this is I have aloe vera juice, aloe vera gel, glycerin, and sodium lactate in here. No, I have still a little sodium lactate here, sorry. I don't want to just throw sodium lactate in willy-nilly because it's expensive. Sometimes I do that and sometimes I don't. Okay, so I want 300. Okay, I want 300 grams of that. And to this, now these two are optional. If you use Hydrovance, or it's also called urea, if you ever see it on an ingredient list, it's one of the trade names for it is Hydrovance. If you ever use Hydrovance in a lotion, you need to put in sodium lactate with it. So I don't have Hydrovance in here. I've used glycerin instead, but I'm putting in the sodium lactate anyway, and that's my allatonin. Both of these are optional, so you don't have to have them. I mean, a very simple cream recipe is, distilled water, oils, butters, and emulsifiers, some fragrance, preservative, and you're done. So mostly everything else is going to be optional. So the oils and butters that I have shea butter, I have coconut oil, I have cocoa butter, I have broccoli seed oil, I have infused, I believe I use calendula, I already put it away, calendula oil, and I think that's it. And I put in, for emulsifiers, I put in conditioning, emulsifying wax, I put in cetyl alcohol, I put in a little bit of stearic acid. I don't really like stearic acid in creams. And a little drop of beeswax. I don't like too much beeswax in creams either. I'm looking for 10 grams of vitamin B, which is panathol, and I waited and waited and waited and waited, W-E-I-G-H-E-D, weighed it, not waited, and it just wasn't coming up on the scale. So when it finally registered 10, this is what I got. Now, I'm going to show you what 10 actually is. Okay, that's 10. This is 10. This is what, these two together is what it had me at 10. So sometimes when you're using a really light ingredient and it seems like you're weighing and waiting and weighing and waiting, check it, because I kept looking at this saying that looks like way too much, and it definitely is way too much. So it weighed too much. So it was way too much. So this is 10 grams of panathol. My videos are quickly turning into what not to do when you're making products. I haven't put up any of my soap videos because every single loaf has gone wrong. And the last time I got to the very end and it was getting so thick, I didn't realize that the camera wasn't really on anything but my arm. And then the camera just died, like just as I was getting to the top of the mold. I don't know if I'm going to put it in or not. I mean, the soap kind of came out kind of nice, but okay, I'm down at 122. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in my, now this is optional. The panathol is optional. I'm going to put in panathol. I'm going to put in honey quat, which is also optional. I'm going to put in green tea extract, also optional. And the only thing I have left are my essential oils and my preservative. And if you remember, I'm not putting in my liquid, my essential oils and my liquid Jamel Plus at the same time, and I still don't know why. I'll have to figure that out before I post this video. I like to hit it with the stick blender after I put in the preservative. Preservative being mixed is really, really important. Okay, so now I'm going to wait about another 10 degrees. See where we're at. We're at 118. So I'm going to wait till we get around 108, 110. I'm going to put in the essential oils. I have peppermint. I have a little bit of menthol. A little bit of clove. A little bit of camphor. Very little. These are very strong ingredients. You only want to put in a little. And I have a little bit of spiced cranberry fragrance oil. And I don't like to use fragrance oils in most of my products, but I really felt like the peppermint and the menthol and the camphor was kind of medicine-y smelling. I mean, it shouldn't have been, but it was. So I was going to go with lavender, but then I decided that I was going to go with the cranberry, since this is going to go with the cranberry foot scrub, the cranberry peppermint foot scrub. So I decided to go with the cranberry spice. And I was saying that everything that I was using just now is optional except the preservative. Never optional. And I have gone crazy lately seeing cleansing balms made with water, especially rose water with no preservative in it. Nonsense. You're just slathering bacteria and yeast and mold on your face. So I don't even understand people. And when they say the vitamin E preserves it, no, it does not. Don't listen to that. And that's another thing. If you do, I have vitamin E in my infused oil, so I'm not putting any in here. But if you don't, you can add vitamin E right now. That's also optional, but if I didn't have vitamin E in my infused oils, I would definitely be putting it in here. Okay, this is the cranberry foot scrub. Cranberry peppermint foot scrub that I just made. I mean, it's so nice. And nice and thick and wonderful, and I'm hoping that this does the same. And speaking of the same, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my cranberry fibers and I'm going to color this, because I think you'll really be able to see the difference. Let me see how close I can get you. See how much light I can shed on the situation for you to really see how the cranberry fibers work. Let me play around with the camera. I'll be back. I don't know if you can see how this is sort of an off-white color because of the green tea extract. So I'm just going to add these cranberry fibers for coloring. I don't want to add too much because I don't want it to act like an exfoliant. That looks lovely. That looks nice, and that does very much so match the color of the foot scrub. I could probably make it darker, but I think I'm going to leave it for now. It has little specks running through it. So now I'm going to add my my essential oils. I'm going to add half of them and see what it smells like. And again, I have peppermint. I have a few menthol chips, not many. And I have some clove, some cajeput, and some camphor. So I'm going to add like half and see how it comes out. I'm hoping this becomes a cream. Yeah, that's light, so I can add the rest of it. It's not as bad as I thought, because with menthol there's no going back, so I wanted to make sure I didn't make it too strong. Probably have about 7 to 10 grams altogether of the essential oils. I think if you actually wanted more, you could. Yeah, I mean it's got a little bit of a menthol kick to it. I think I'm going to add some more cranberry fibers. Like I said, I don't want it to act like an exfoliant because this is a cream or lotion. If it doesn't firm up, I think it will, but I I just don't want to add color. Anything that's not natural, I just don't want to. Oh, why is this doing this? I got this. I have several Cuisinart stick blenders. I don't like the new ones because I have this button on the bottom that you have to hold. But this silver one was defective from like the first time I used it, and I used it over a month after I got it, so I wasn't able to return it. And I thought that it was the silver and the silver bottom, but apparently it's the silver top with anything that goes on the bottom, and this bottom one is a Cuisinart as well. Okay, so what I'm going to do is have a little speckled stuff going on. I'm going to put this in the freezer, and I'm going to let it go to about 60. Okay, so it's down around 75, and it's very thick. See that? So it did thicken up quite nicely and quite fast. So I'm going to try to whip it still a little bit, but it's pretty much done. It is soup. Well, it's not soup. That's the great thing. So I'm going to get a spoon to alcohol and to put into my little jars. And I need to weigh my little jars. Let me make sure you can see it. Wait, something's wrong. All right, that looks perfect. Oh, this still has alcohol in it. Sorry. Let me find my paper towels. Okay, they all still had alcohol in them, so I don't need the alcohol for my spoon. I'm only going to do one. I'll show you the consistency, and then I'll bring you back when they firm up more. They look pretty good so far. In fact, had I known it was going to go this well this soon, I would have piped them in. I still might do that, but I'll let you go. So that is, how many ounces? 8 ounces? Okay, that's way too big. Because this is not an 8 ounce jar. Okay, let me see. 6.4. Yeah, this is a 6 point. There's a, okay, so this is a 6 ounce I have some air bubbles. How do you get air bubbles? That's how thick it is, leaving little traces. I would get a piping bag, but I think that it's starting to firm up so fast I might not have time for all that. It's kind of weird that it just took off the way that it did. Who knows, this could be another one of my happy accidents, because what you saw was nothing like what my original formulation was. I mean, it was a little bit. I mean, it had oils and butters and emulsifiers. That was about it. And a preservative. Okay. So that is, gonna have to pretty that up. Okay, that's 6.5 ounces. So I'm gonna continue filling. I might think about piping. And then I'll bring you back. Okay, I wanted to see if it would pipe, and it wouldn't pipe along the sides. It's very whipped. If I knew I was going to pipe it, I would have whipped it a little less, but I did pipe the top of it for putting in photos. So there you have it, and it's really, really nice. I mean, it's a nice lotion. It has menthol in it, but you know, it's for your feet. That's an intensive foot lotion. And what I would suggest is if you have dry, aching feet, I put the menthol in for some cooling. And I think that if you have dry, aching feet, you should use your foot scrub in the shower with your foot fizzie, and then you should put your lovely peppermint, cranberry, cooling lotion on before you go to bed, and put some socks on over it. And when you wake up, your little pitties will be very, very joyful. Trust me on this one. You will love it. Okay, so here's the peppermint collection. These are the peppermint foot fizzies we made last week. It's the peppermint foot scrub that we made today. And it's the peppermint foot cream we made today. Aren't they gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous? So this is the Get Your Feet into Summer Shape collection by Splendida Nutrita, New York. Thanks for watching.